I'm Steve Easley, and welcome to the Kentucky Residential Energy Codes training for the 2009 IECC, or the International Energy Conservation Code. I'd like to acknowledge the Kentucky Department of Energy Development and Independence, as well as the Kentucky Department of Housing, Buildings, and Construction.
This project was funded by a grant from the U.S. Department of Energy through the Midwest Energy Efficiency Alliance and in partnership with the Kentucky Departments of Energy Development, Independence, and Housing, Buildings, and Construction.
BCAP was largely responsible for the content in this presentation, in addition to what I've developed. And BCAP, which is the Building Codes Assistance Project, was launched in 1994. And basically it was an alliance between the Alliance to Save Energy, the National Resources Defense Council, and the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy. The role of BCAP is to provide resources and education and assistance to advance the adoption of energy codes throughout the United States. My background is I've been a building construction consultant for a number of years and specialize in helping builders solve building science-related problems, as well as specialize in energy efficiency and sustainable construction. Our course overview today is really going to be focusing on the background of energy codes for the U.S. and also Kentucky, the organization and scope of the Residential 2009 IECC. We'll be talking about the mandatory requirements, and then the three paths to compliance, which is the prescriptive path, certainly the UA pathway, as well as the performance compliance path. Also, we're looking at resources as well. Now, the background, I think it's important to talk about some background on energy codes. First of all, within Kentucky, about 32% of all the energy that's used is used in residential and commercial buildings. About 19% for residential and about 13% for commercial. About 40% of all the total energy used in the United States is consumed by buildings, as well as about 70% of all U.S. electricity consumption. So buildings have a big impact on energy use, and so more efficient buildings are going to use less energy and have less impact on the environment. In fact, buildings are critical to addressing energy and climate issues. Obviously, if we can make more energy efficient buildings, that's going to reduce global climate change. It reduces our dependency on foreign oil, which is a national security issue even today. Reduces stress on the electrical grid. Emissions reductions also improve air quality and public health, as well as it saves customers money. In fact, when you look at what the energy use that the codes cover for residential and commercial buildings, it's about 66% with regards to cooling, lighting, water heating, and heating energy. So those are the primary areas that the energy code covers.
Chapter 11 of the 2013 Kentucky Residential Code references the 2009 International Energy Conservation Code, or the IECC, for the energy efficiency requirements for the design and construction of residential buildings. Kentucky does have two amendments that modify the 2009 IECC, and these amendments can be found in Chapter 11 of the 2013 Kentucky Residential Code. The first amendment has to do with basement walls. The amendment requires that the basement walls associated with conditioned spaces shall be insulated from the inside or the outside of the basement wall, from the top of the basement wall down to the design frost depth. For unconditioned basements, either of the walls or the overhead floor need to be insulated per code requirements. The second amendment addresses the allowable alternative methods to insulate slab-on-grade floors. Examples of acceptable alternative methods are shown in the 2013 Kentucky Residential Code. And remember, this only applies to those buildings regulated by the Kentucky Residential Code: detached single-family dwellings, two-family dwellings, and townhouses. You should refer to the Department of Housing, Building, and Construction website every couple of months to check on additional amendments to the code. Their website address is www.dhbc.kentucky.gov.
So when we think about the 2009 IECC, which again is the International Energy Conservation Code, it is a required level of energy efficiency for residential and commercial construction. We want to understand that these are the minimum standards that residential and commercial buildings can be built to with regards to energy efficiency. Now, the IECC is a part of the International Family of Codes. So the International Codes Council, or the ICC, basically has a whole variety of codes for residential, commercial, mechanical, etc. And the Energy Code is just one of the codes that fall into that family.